start recording, and we're going to go to our teams. So if you guys are on our teams, we're going to go to chemistry 11, and I'll get the lights. Oh, it's not plugged in. So that's exciting. If you ever see this screen, it means I have not plugged in my cable. So just, give me a shout so I know that it's not up and running properly. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Teams. Chem 11, that's what we want. Excellent. Okay. So the general tab is where, you start out, and I have not posted anything there. I usually only post announcements like, oh, whoops, I forgot to tell you there's a quiz, today. No, I won't do that. But, it's sort of like an announcement at the last minute. Oops, remember to bring your textbooks back or something like that at the end of semester, okay? We have also under the channel, so if you could open up yours and make sure you have these channels and that they're not hidden for you, is class notes. All right, and under class notes, there is a link, and I don't know how well it will work for you on your phone, but it will link you to there we go. This is our actual notes that I'll be writing on. You will have a workbook that you'll be writing in. Okay. Did you guys get an email about your workbook fee? Yes. Okay. How much is the workbook fee? $30. And you're going to think when you get your first workbook, well, this is not worth $30, but that's okay because there's 8 of them. Okay. So once you get the first, there's 8 workbooks. They're just small, one for each unit, right? So you don't have to lug the whole thing with you. They're just like this thick, and you take one, and it's got an answer key. And then when you're done with that one, you can leave that one at home or recycle it if you're never taking chemistry again, right? And yeah, so that's there for you. Now, just a few things in here. This little bookshelf up at the top left-hand corner, see if I can make it bigger here. There we go. There's a little bookshelf. It looks like a couple books with one lying over. If you want to navigate to a different section, so here's our data pages, but for Unit 1, we are Block 2, so that's going to be EMAPS 2, all right? But you're welcome to look at the notes for other classes. In theory, they should be approximately the same. Okay, so this is it, and we click on that, and it churns away, and it probably looks really bad when you first pull it up, but then you could say go to 1.2a, accuracy and precision, and it will bring that up, and then you can close the little library, and then you can see everything that you need to see. So if you miss the notes and you want to see what I've written on them, you'll be able to do that. I will remind you of this later because I know you will forget that it is here. So, all right, we'll close that. So that's class notes. Course outline. There we go. This was also emailed to you earlier this morning, I believe. Oh, did I not put it here? Huh. Oh, it's in files. Okay, so let's just see. Files. Oh yeah, there we go. So let's just link it out here, new conversation, and we'll attach that, and we will go here and go here, upload a copy, sure. So if you're ever like, I would like to see what the course outline says, you can do that. Shall we take a look at it now, just real quick? Okay. Course outline. Okay, so my name is Karen Spence. This is like an introductory letter as well for your parents and whatnot. And I have been teaching for 27 and a half now years. My contact information, really simple, karen.spence@burnabyschools.ca. Where would you go to find that? if you forgot it? Where would you go to find all your teachers' emails? The website. This is shocking. There are people who don't know how to do that. Okay. Workbook fee, $30. Please pay by, it says Friday, February 3rd. I think in the email I said Wednesday, February 1st. So let's go with Wednesday, February 1st. If this cost represents a hardship to you or your family, please speak to either your counselor or to me, whoever you feel comfortable with, and we can have that fee waived. So don't be like, oh no, this is going to be horrible. We can't afford that. Don't worry, we've got your back, okay? Also, if you are an international student, you do not pay workbook fees, okay? So those are included. You've already paid probably lots and lots and lots of money to be here. Student success. Number 1, work with intent. Don't just try to finish quickly. If you try to finish quickly and don't think about it, you will not do well in this course. Try to really absorb the information and work with the intent to like stick it in your brain and make it stay, okay? Communicate. Thank you so much. I'm really big on communication. If you're having a problem with anything, if you're confused about something, anything at all, most problems and stresses can be minimized by communicating with me. Any situation that arises, if something isn't working for you, let me know. We can deal with it together. Yeah. Be in charge of your own learning. You must, in this course, get extra help when needed. It is a course where Unit 1 is used in Unit 2. Unit 2 information is used in Unit 3. Unit 3 is used in Unit 4, and so on, all through the course until we finally get to Unit 7 and 8, stoichiometry and solutions, which use almost everything from the entire course except for the atoms and the periodic table part. Okay, so we don't actually have a final for this course because the last unit uses all the information from all the first units, so it doesn't really make sense to have a final if we're already using all the concepts. So that's one nice thing. But what it does mean is that if you don't understand something in Unit 1 and you don't get it fixed right away, guess what? Unit 2 is not going to be your friend. Okay, so you want to make sure that the previous unit is your friend before we're starting the next unit. Do extra practice if needed. So you will have a workbook. Would you like to get your workbooks now? Yeah, let's do that. That way you can look at it while we do this. Let's grab the workbooks. They are at the very back on that little table just as you come in. I'll shut that off momentarily. It will blind you. There is a workbook. Put your name on the front so you know that it's yours. Okay, and your block. And then there's an answer key. So also keep on the answer key. Ignore everything in the little wire shelves. They're just kind of sitting there waiting to be filed. Okay, so just a workbook and an answer key. File passed. Grab those for yourself. If you're thinking, I shouldn't be in Chemistry 11 and I'll be transferring out, don't grab yourself a workbook, okay? And if you're thinking, how is this possibly only 1 unit? We will never get through this. There can't possibly be 8 books like this. Don't worry, there's lots of pictures in there. It's like a textbook and a workbook all in one. So there's space for you to write. So if you had a textbook, there wouldn't be space for you to write. If you just had the worksheets, there wouldn't be the text part. So it's everything all in one. And everyone is always a little frightened when they look at it at first, but it's not really that bad. You'll notice that on that cover page, we have things that say extra practice. Oh, look, classifying matter, extra practice, extra practice, extra practice. Those are ones where, people would ask me, oh, do you have extra practice on this? And I'd be like, okay, yes. And then apparently for making measurements, they had done that and they were like, oh, do you have more extra practice? So I'm like, okay, I will make more extra practice. So there's lots of that. Do that if you need to, okay? Extra practice is not something that is necessarily required. If you understood everything the first time, don't make work for yourself, okay? This is a very flexible course in that if you're coming in with a really strong mathematical background and you really understood things in Science 10, you don't necessarily have to do every problem in the workbook. If I assign you some problems, you might just do every second problem. Yeah? If you have an evening where I've assigned some homework, but that's also an evening when you have lots and lots of like extracurricular stuff to do, you could do like every second problem or every third problem and then go back when you have more time. Does that make sense? Okay, so you are responsible for making this work for you. All right. Use the answer key effectively. I have had people who think like it's like grade 8 and they just copy down the answer key and they're like so excited and they've done their homework. Well, to be honest with you, we don't have time in this course to check your homework. So if you don't do your homework, I won't know, I won't care. Oh, so how will I know that you've done your homework? We have quizzes all the time, okay? Quizzes and quizzes and quizzes and quizzes and quizzes. You'll be like, oh my God, there's another quiz. Why do we have 2, 3 quizzes this week? It can seem like a little much, but by the same token, they're usually very short, okay? They're on a single skill, all right? And the nice thing about quizzes is they are there for mastery. So if I look at my counting sig figs quiz, I have 3 versions of it. So if you don't do it well the first time, you may write it A, second time. If you don't like your mark on the second one, you can write it A, third time. Then I run out of copies, right? So make sure that in between the first time you write something and the second time you write something, you come and get some help if you need it, or you chat with your friends about it and make sure you understand, okay? Let's see what else. Yeah, sometimes I do get people asking me, could you check this work for me in the workbook? And I'm like, have you looked in the answer key? Right, the answer key is there for you. Don't be shy about checking it once you've done the work. It's really important that you don't just do the work, but that you know that you have done it correctly. All the answer key has worked answers. They're not just like the answer, they're all worked, okay? So that is what I mean by take charge of your own learning. Do as much as you need to achieve mastery of a skill, okay? Don't kill yourself doing extra practice if you don't need extra practice, but do it if you need it. Had a student last semester, probably would have got a C, just doing the normal amount of work, but was one of those people who came in on a regular basis during flex time and got some extra help and did the extra work, ended up getting a B, a high B, in fact. So the difference between doing the work and not doing the work can mean a letter grade or 2. Use proven study techniques. I have not uploaded these onto our team yet, so we will do one of them each day just so you sort of know about them. Spaced repetition is one of them. Pomodoro is another, and put the phone away is a third. And you'll be like, oh, do we really have to put our phone away? And I will say yes, and I will give you research behind that, because I am research driven, if nothing else. You are encouraged to contact me through either Teams or email if you cannot see me in person to get help. Chemistry 11 is a senior academic elective course. It's a senior course, which means it's not a baby course anymore, right? It's an academic course, which means that if you don't want to put in the effort, then you should change to a different science, which is less academic. Environmental science, for example, is running this semester in block 4 if you are interested. You should plan on spending at least, I don't know why I wrote at least twice, at least 40 minutes to 1 hour each evening on chemistry. It may not be quite that much, it might just be 20 minutes, but budget that much in case you need it, okay? A minimum of 2 hours on the weekend. Oh, you might not need that much. If you really are good at math and you aced chemistry and science 10, you might not need to put in that much time, okay? If you cannot commit this amount of time, you should reconsider whether you need this course. Students who do not put in enough time practicing and learning the concepts will not achieve a high grade, and some of them may even fail the course. Ooh, we don't want that. Number one, I don't want to do the paperwork, okay? Now, that being said, my average last semester in my class was 84%, which is pretty darn good, okay? So don't be like, oh no, it's going to be horrible. No, it's not horrible. We had a good time. People's grades were good. They were pretty happy, okay? It is important that you check our team's site regularly. Best source of communication between myself and the class outside of class time. We won't go through that. Flex time. How many of you love getting up to get here at 8:35? Some of you, that's excellent. Okay, I will let you know I am here every day for flex except for Wednesday. On Wednesdays, I'm actually teaching my 11 enriched a unit that we did not manage to get through during semester 1. So if you're interested in learning gas laws, you can show up and I will be teaching gas laws. There will be some students here. I'll be recording the lesson for them, whatever. But Wednesdays, I'll put that on my door so that you can remember, Wednesdays are not a good day for flex time, okay? Because I'll be doing some other stuff. The peak program, every morning from 8 till 9:05, Monday through Thursday from 3 till 4. That's a space where you can get help with homework and studying, and there are peer tutors who have done things like take Chem 11, taken Chem 12, and they will be able to help you out. I'm not going to go through like what all the things are we're learning. You can read them. There's units of study. There's 8 of them. There's lab skills. The marks break down: 10% quizzes, 15% labs, 75% tests. Okay? I know. It'll be fine. Honestly, by the time, for at least units 1 and 2, by the time you have done all the quizzes, the test pretty much looks like all the quizzes stuck together. So it is as though you have done the test in small pieces before the test, okay? Recommended supplies, you must have a pencil, okay? If you try and do like chemistry calculations in pen, unless it's erasable pen, you'll end up with a scribbly mess a lot of the time, so just make sure you have a pencil. You will want, obviously, an eraser. I have spare everything, so if you're ever lacking anything, let me know. A blue or black pen, that will be for when we do labs. Okay, it must be blue or black. A red pen in case we're marking something, or in case you want to highlight things, right, in different colors. I would say highlighters are useful. People who use them well, have a good time with it. Sticky notes. Probably not even like this size, just the little baby ones, the little baby ones that are about this big, okay? They're really good for just putting in your book if you have questions, right? Or if you want to mark a page or whatever. Totally useful. I would recommend that just in general, you have a binder with lined loose leaf paper. However, So if you don't have any paper with you, and I say get out some paper, then at the back here, we'll turn around and look, there is this thing, and someone who's close, could you read what it says, please? Anyone? Free blank paper, okay? It is written on one side. It's like things that I photocopied that didn't turn out, or I didn't need, or I did it wrong, or whatever. So on this one, it's the big Lewis Structures worksheet. You don't write on that side, you write on the side that is blank. Okay? So lots of paper there for you. A ruler. Mostly, again, that would be on like a lab day. Okay? Ruler would be on lab day. You do need to have a scientific calculator. Okay? Now, a scientific calculator, the reason that you need one is you need to be able to do like exponents. Okay? So you need something more than like the little one you used in elementary school. Can I use my phone? You can use your phone during classwork, but you will not be allowed to use it on quizzes or tests. I would highly recommend, if you don't have one, this little one. It's tiny, it's cute, and it costs about 10 bucks. Okay, it's on Staples. I will try to put a link, if I remember, I'll put a link to this up in our team. So that if you're like, I need a really cheap calculator that does everything I need it to do, then you can get one of these. But I do have loaners. Please don't be the person who asks for a loaner every class. Last semester I had 2 people, they never got their own calculator. It was irritating, but we lived with it. All right, and I think that's it for our course outline. Let's see, where were we? We were on Teams. There we are. Why did I close Teams? Starts up every time I don't want it. Have you guys noticed that? Like on your computer, like Teams will pop up every time you start it. I don't want it. Okay. Okay, so that was our course outline. Flex time invitations. I may put your name up here if you're doing poorly and you need to come in for flex time. Homework. This will be where your homework is. So let's start with today's homework, which I don't know what it is yet, but that's okay. So, but I'll start it. Today is Monday, January the 30th, and when I'm ready and I'm finished that, I will type in the rest of it and we will know what it is. Is good? Okay. Honesty policy. Basically, don't cheat, okay? If you have a lab, don't copy other people. If you, if you're on a quiz, don't be like, you have a divider up, don't be like, I will see you. I might not say anything because quizzes are only worth 10%, but I will know you and I will think differently about you, okay? So think about how you want me to perceive you, okay? Lesson videos, like I said, I'm recording things. Your lesson videos will be posted here. They are on YouTube, okay? Sometimes they will be our lessons. Sometimes they might be another block, depending on if I've taught a lesson better in a different block. Study techniques I haven't put up there yet. And then this little one here is if we have a quiz or a test coming up, it will be in there. We good? So we learn chemistry now? Okay, awesome. No, I don't. Notebook. There we are. Emaps 2. Yay. Okay. So Emaps is our first unit. It is called Emaps because this unit is sort of like a little bit of everything. Like it's just like a beginning unit. There's equipment, exponents, exact numbers. That's E. There's measurement, metric units, metric prefixes, and mixtures. That's M. Accuracy and algebra, A. Precision and prefixes, P. Scientific notation, significant figures, and SI units, and solutions, S. So Emaps. I was really proud that I managed to get it all in the 5 letters. That was quite exciting for me. All right. These here, the first 2 pages, 1.0a gives you rules for measurement and sig figs. This is something you can refer to when we get those. I will actually print out an extra copy of this on a colored sheet of paper So if you're needing to refer to these, you'll be able to do so. And 1.0b, how to do scientific notation. Some of you may already know, and some of you may not. I need to grab my calculator. You will be learning accuracy and precision on your own with my good friend Tyler DeWitt. Anyone in here familiar with Tyler DeWitt? Seen any of his videos? If you have not, then hi. Okay. All right. What was I saying? Tyler DeWitt, he's an awesome chemistry teacher. He has lots of videos related to Chemistry 11. If you ever need a tutorial on something, just type in his name and whatever subject it is, he will probably have something there to help you. So we are actually going to start with 1.4a. Could you tell me what page that's on, please, everybody? 61. Now you know how to use a table of contents. Excellent. Page 61. In 1960, before even I was born, the metric system was standardized and named the International System of Units, or the Système International, or SI units. There should probably be an E on the end of system, but I think I forgot to do that. Okay. There are only 7 base units. Those are the units on which everything else is based. Okay? 5 of these are used commonly. In Chemistry 11, we will not be bothering with the other ones. If something is not a base unit, it is a derived unit. And they are composed of 1 or more base units. And there are tons and tons of derived units. Joules are derived units. Meters per second are derived units. What else is a derived unit? A volt, an ohm, an amp. Those are all derived units. Okay. All right, so these are the quantities. The quantity is the thing that you measure. The thing you are measuring. So if I say, how far is it from your house to the school? You are measuring the distance. The distance is the quantity. But you wouldn't say, I live 37 distances from the school. Okay? You would say maybe I live 37 kilometers from the school. That seems like really far. Okay, maybe I live like 37 meters from the school because I live really close. Okay, 37 was not a good choice of a number, but anyway. The meter or the kilometer is the unit. All right, so it is important that you understand the difference between the quantity and the unit. So, what are our quantities? There is volume, distance. Those ones are pretty easy, yes? What is volume? Tell your partner, how would you describe volume? Okay, volume is the 3-dimensional space taken up by an object or a liquid or whatever it should be. So it's the 3D space. Okay, the quantity symbol is capital V. Do the capitals and lower cases matter? Yes, they do. Do you guys know what lowercase v stands for? Velocity. Okay, so capital V is for volume, Little v is for velocity. We will not be talking much about velocity in chemistry, but we will talk a lot about volume. And it is our first unit here, and it has a star beside it because it is not actually an SI unit. If you actually wanted the SI unit for volume, it would be decimeters cubed. And in fact, in England, if you take a square that is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, each of those 10 centimeters is a decimeter. And if you take a cube that is 10 centimeters on each side, that is a decimeter cube, and that is actually equal to 1 liter. Okay, you don't need to know that. That's okay. It's like, that's nice. Okay. We're not in Britain. We're not going to give you your volumes in deciliters. I'm just letting you know that the liter is not actually an SI, an International System of Units base unit. It is a derived unit. Okay, it's actually distance times distance times distance. Okay, but we use it so often that we pretend that it is. So it is on your list. Okay, so we're pretending that it's an SI unit because we use it so much. All right, so now that I've said that, we're just going to pretend for the rest of the course that it is a base unit. Yes? No. The base unit would be the meters. And so then you would take, technically it should be measured in meters cubed, but that's a really awkward kind of volume. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a derived unit. Distance times distance times distance. Yeah. Okay. Distance is easy, measured in meters. I hope everybody knows that. Yes? Amount of matter. This one is kind of weird. This one you will need to learn. We will spend all of Unit 5 talking about the amount of matter. And the symbol for that is N, which kind of stands for the number of particles. Okay? And that is measured in the unit which is called a mole. And for Unit 1, you don't need to know anything about the mole except that it exists. And what does it measure? The amount of matter. And what's the symbol for the amount of matter? N. And how do we abbreviate mole? It's a really clever abbreviation. We take the word mole and we take off the E. Oh my gosh, we've shortened it so much. I feel like I've saved so much time. Okay, it is a little bit ridiculous, but there we are. Okay. Temperature is capital T. It's capital T because what's lowercase t? Time. Okay, so temperature is capital T. And technically the SI unit is Kelvin. Do you think we will be using Kelvin very often? No. What do you think we will be using? Celsius. We will be using degrees Celsius. Okay. But in case you are interested, Kelvin, 1 degree Kelvin and 1 degree Celsius are the same size. So the distance from 1 degree Kelvin to 2 degrees Kelvin is the same as from 1 degree Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius. The temperature would increase by exactly the same amount. So 1 degree Kelvin is the same as 1 degree Celsius. In fact, it's not 1 degree Kelvin, it's just called 1 Kelvin. Okay? Do you need to know about that? No. Okay? You do need to know that it is the SI unit because this is one of the things that you need to know for Chemistry 11. It is part of the curriculum. Okay? However, we will be using degrees Celsius. And the last two, fairly straightforward. Mass is abbreviated M, and the base unit for that is the kilogram. It's not the gram. Isn't that weird? Wouldn't it seem like it should be the gram? Because that's just like a plain unit. But it is a kilogram, and the reason for that is that they used to define a kilogram. There was literally a block of iridium. Okay, iridium is an element, one of the elements on the periodic table, and there was literally a block of it in a vacuum under some glass somewhere in France. Okay, and they had copies of this in various places of the world, and they were the standard for what is exactly a kilogram. Problem is that over time, some of that iridium will actually degrade, like there's radioactive decay, and so the mass would change by a teeny tiny amount over time. So it's not really good as a standard to compare things to because it would change over time. So they came up with a new definition for the kilogram. And last semester I was like, oh, I can't remember what it is, but I'll go look it up for you. And then I went and looked it up and I'm like, it is just like really, really complicated. If you would like to look it up for yourself, I will let you do that, but I'm not going to talk about it because it really didn't make sense to me. And I have a degree in science, so I'm guessing that in chemistry 11 it will not be very meaningful to you. So for our purposes, we're just going to say a kilogram is that block of metal. And finally, we have time, which is T, and the base unit of that is seconds, which is S. Now, you need to memorize this table. And in order to aid you with that, I'm going to teach you a song. I know you're super excited that I'm going to have you singing on the first day, but that's okay. We will all sing together. There's lots of us, okay? And even if you can't sing, you can mouth the words along with us, okay? I will sing loudly, but if you're confident enough to sing along with me, please do so. It will make me so, so happy, and it will actually make you remember it better, okay? I know that sounds crazy, but if you mouth it, you will not get the same auditory feedback. You will not be accessing the same number of neurons in your brain. Yes? So, for the units, we're going to remember the units. So here's how the song goes, and it's really simple. Liters, meters, moles, and Kelvin, kilograms and seconds. Liters, meters, moles, and Kelvin, kilograms and seconds. Liters, meters, moles, and Kelvin, kilograms and seconds. Try it in your head now with me. Liters, meters, moles, and Kelvin, kilograms and seconds. Now we're all going to try it together. Okay, I'll sing super loud so you can't hear yourself. Liters, meters, moles, and Kelvin, kilograms and seconds. 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 That was not bad. You guys, first day, like I'm really proud of you for like stepping out in your, that's like a risk-taking behavior, a good kind of risk-taking behavior, okay? And really, if you do that sort of thing, you will remember them better, okay? I've literally had people like singing those songs, like I've heard like a little hum as they were writing the quiz, you know. Okay, so those are our units, and those are the quantities that they measure. And what's the one that's going to give you the most difficulty because it's weird and you've never heard of it before? Out of all of those, which is the one that's weird and you've never heard of it before? Amount of matter, moles, abbreviated MOL, okay? And the symbol is N for the number of particles. Alrighty. Now, prefixes. Have you heard of these prefixes? Mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. Have you heard of those before? Okay. And guess what? Those also go with exactly the same song. You can sing the same song. You don't need to learn a new tune. You get to learn the same song, and it will tell you the prefixes from the biggest to the smallest. Okay? So once again, you can listen to me. I did have a different tune for it, but then I decided it was just easier just to have one song so you didn't have to learn like two pieces of music, okay? So mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. Mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. Everyone. Mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. Mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. Remember, if you don't want to sing, you can always mouth along. Mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. Mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. And now what we're going to do is you're going to get yourself a piece of paper. So this could be one of those pieces of paper. It could be your own piece of paper. It could be the back of this book. I don't care where it is, because we're going to start remembering it. We're going to sing the little song, and we're going to write the symbols for these. Okay? Help yourself to some free blank paper if you do not have your own paper. This is not like a good copy or anything. These are in your notes already. You all didn't know what you were in for when you signed up for chemistry, did you? You're like, I did not think this was a singing course. All right, are we ready? So we're going to have mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. And now we have capital mega, lowercase kilo, deci, centi, milli, and then micro. I'm going to write a line here because you're going to practice drawing it along the line. This is a weird one. I'll give you a second to catch up because I write really fast. And don't worry, if you can't keep up, it's all good. Like if you're like, you know what, writing is just not my forte, like I can't write fast, it's okay. Just write down the important bits. Like micro, what we're going to do is we're going to start below the line. Okay, so we're going to start down here. We're going to go up, and then we're going to go up, and then we're going to trail off. Okay, so start below the line, go up, and then a little scoop at the end. Up, and a scoop at the end. Up, and a scoop at the end. Your tail at the beginning doesn't have to be that big, right? It could be like this, up, and a scoop at the end. All right. So now we are going to, once you've done a few of those, sing the little song and write the little symbols for all of the prefixes. Oh, and nano, of course, is N. So we have mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, mega, sing with me, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, mega, kilo, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. Now, what were our units? Liters, meters, moles and Kelvin, kilograms and seconds, liters, meters, moles and Kelvin, kilograms and seconds. Now, what does liters measure? Volume. What does meters measure? Moles, Kelvin, temperature, kilograms, S, time. Excellent. Okay, so hopefully all of this has been a review. If it hasn't been, then hopefully you know it now. All right, we have a wee little section here on derived units on the next page. Density, for example, is a derived unit. It consists of 2 or more SI units combined. So if I said to you something was very, very dense, this is on page 62. If I said to you something is very dense, what would that mean? If I put it in your hand, what would you do? Show me what it would look like if I put something very dense in your hand. Ooh. Yes? Ooh. Like honestly, like I think it was my husband, he went to go visit like Fort Knox or something when he was a little kid, you know, and they're like, and children, anyone, you can take as many gold bars as you can carry when you leave. Right? But the gold was so dense that, of course, you know, little kids with their little spaghetti arms, they can't even pick up one because it is so dense. The amount of matter, the mass, okay, the mass is so much for the volume that it's very, very heavy for the given amount of space. So if we have mass over volume, then the unit of density could be grams per liter, or we could write it as G over L. Volume can be calculated by measuring length times width times height. That's our volume, length times width times height. You guys know that formula? Yes? Excellent. Okay, so for example, 1 liter is 1 decimeter times 1 decimeter times 1 decimeter, like we spoke of up here, and that is 1 liter. This is a table of derived units. You are not responsible for memorizing this table, but they are just here. Well, I guess you're responsible for the liters, but you're not responsible for the decimeter cubed. That's what you're not responsible for. Energy measured in joules, capital J. And if you're really interested, a joule is short for a kilogram meter squared per second squared. Ooh, complicated, yes? Mm-hmm. Did you guys learn a force formula last year? I can't remember. Force? Force equals mass times acceleration? No? Okay, never mind. No, we'll just not talk about that. Okay. Now, pressure is a kilogram per meter times second squared, and density is just grams per centimeter cubed, and there is no unit that is short for that. Okay? That's just how we go. Now, there's a few questions here. I'm going to let you do those for homework, but in the meantime, we are going to, what are we going to do? We're going to go to page 105. I do skip around a lot. Okay, just so you get used to it. This is 1.6a, page 105. Yes. Yeah. I'll write down exactly which ones, because you don't necessarily want to do like all the tables all at once, right? Like the practice tables, you might want to do like one tonight and one tomorrow morning and one tomorrow night kind of thing. Yeah. All right, so exponents. Most of this, I hope, is really review. The reason that we are doing this is because it comes in handy when you are looking at doing some math with scientific notation. We are working our way up to scientific notation. We are on page 105. So if I said to you, and all of these answers are here, so you don't have to write them down, but you can just pay attention up here so you can kind of think through it. We have 2 squared. What does 2 squared mean if I was to expand it? 2 times 2. So you guys already know this stuff, right? 2 times 2. And then in standard form, that is equal to 4. Okay, and there is no exponent rule with that. That's just what it is. Okay. Now, what if I had 2 minutes squared, which is a weird thing to do? Do I square the 2? Is the 2 applying to the squared applying to the 2? No, so I would still have 2, but I would have minutes times minutes. Weird, yes? Okay, but you can do it, right? If 2 squared is 2 times 2, then minutes squared is minutes times minutes. All right, and if we were to write that in standard form, we would just have to go back to 2 minutes squared, because there's nothing you can do with minutes squared. It doesn't have a value, okay? But if we took 2 minutes and we put it in brackets and then we cubed it, what does that apply to? That cubed applies to, hello, what can I do for you? I'm not very good at collecting back textbooks, so like it was like, oh yeah, bring them tomorrow, whoops. Okay. This cubed, when it's on the outside of the brackets, it applies to everything. So we have 2 cubed and we have minutes cubed. So we're going to have 2 times, how many times? 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2. And then we will have times minutes times minutes times minutes. And then if we were to write out what that equals, that would be 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then minutes times minutes times minutes is minutes cubed. Now, what if we had 1/2 cubed? On the top, we would have 1 times 1 times 1. And on the bottom, we would have 2 times 2 times 2. Now, it would also be possible to write this. You don't have to write it that way. You could write it as 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Either way is fine. Okay. And we end up with 1 cubed over, which is just 1, over 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So I don't know why I wrote the cube there. I was getting rid of that. Anyway, it should be 1 over 8, so 1/8. -2 to the 4. What does the 4 apply to? To the negative, to the 2, or to both? Just to the 2. So we would have negative, and then 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So that would be negative 2, 4, 8, no, 2, 4, 8, 16, negative 16. What if we had negative 2 raised to the 4? That means that the 4 applies to everything that's in there. So we would have negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, and that would equal 2, 4, 8, 16. And when you have negative times negative times negative times negative, is that negative or is it positive? Positive. So we have positive 16. And then finally, our last example here, what if we have kilograms over meters squared? How would we expand that? Kilograms times kilograms over meters times meters. And there's nothing you can do with that other than just say kilograms squared over meters squared. Okay, or if you had wanted to, you could have written it as kilograms over meters times kilograms over meters. Okie dokie. So let's find out what you were doing for homework. I'm going to give you, I don't know, whatever our last 5 minutes are. 10 minutes, we can work on this. So page 105, this is page 105. And let's see what we want you to do from those units. That was page 61. Page 62 and 63. Number, oh heck, let's just do 1 and 2. 1 and 2. No, just page 62. Just page 62. There we go. And the reason I'm not giving you the whole thing is that I want you to be reviewing. Okay, so today I'm going to give you page 62. Probably tomorrow I will give you page 63. Yeah? And then closer to the test or the quiz, I'll give you page 64 or whatever it is. Okay, so 105, 62, and Tyler DeWitt is going to teach you about accuracy and precision. So this is on page 35. There's a video for you to watch. Pages 35 to 39. Nope, 35 to, how much? 37. So that's about 20 minutes of videos. When I didn't ask at the beginning of class, was there anyone who wasn't on the list when I read out the attendance? Everyone was here? And of course, make sure that you have paid your workbook fee, okay? Otherwise, I will start nagging you. I don't want to do that. You don't want to have it happen.